feel-good Halloween movie? What is this? Christmas? Bah humbug! Booga booga booga. I'm reviewing HUBIE Halloween. Hey Twisted people, it's your Twisted Girl next door here, and today I am reviewing HUBIE Halloween by Netflix and Adam Sandler. I'm giving you my pros, cons, trigger warnings, my twisted final grade, and in addition, a new fun thing I've added called Emotional Carnage. But what's emotional carnage? I'm glad you asked. Me? We all know horror movies come in all shapes, sizes, and aesthetics, and this includes the mood it can put you in. And as your horror guide, I figured it was my duty to help you figure out if a horror picture has the potential to put you in a great mood, completely piss you off, infuriate you, or something else entirely. So, emotional carnage. HUBIE Halloween tells the tale of Hubie. Despite his devotion to his hometown of Salem and his Halloween celebration, Hubie Dubois is a figure of mockery for kids and adults alike. But this year, something is going bump in the night, and it's up to Hubie to save Halloween. There's actually a lot of things to like about HUBIE Halloween, and, disclaimer, I like Adam Sandler movies, some of Adam Sandler movies. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh my gosh, Adam Sandler, give me anything and everything. No, I actually really loved him in Uncut Gems. Click is one of my fave movies, Little Nicky, and there's a few others. Then there's some ones where I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to leave that alone. So I kind of came in here not as someone who, because I know he can be kind of a polarizing figure depending on the content he puts out. So I'm kind of a neutral person who leans on the side of, if it's quality, if it's decent, I usually really do enjoy it. So that's a precursor to what I'm going to say about this. So if you're someone who completely kind of hates Adam Sandler, yeah, this might not work for you. With that said, HUBIE Halloween is super funny. There's a lot of great things in terms of sight gags, in terms of through lines when it comes to a lot of the jokes that keep happening throughout. There's pretty much a joke every single scene. There's never really a lull, which is really cool because sometimes you can have, horror comedies where, sometimes it gets kind of weird and it's suddenly not funny, but then they want you to laugh after someone brutally dies or something like that. And it's kind of like, well, that was a mood shift. But that doesn't happen with HUBIE Halloween. It does a really good job of keeping the kind of light comedy throughout, and it's actually super funny. I found myself laughing out loud throughout this whole entire film for various reasons, whether it was silly funny, whether it was smart funny, and whether it was just kind of like, this is a pretty cute film. It's a simple story. That is another thing. I mean, sometimes I'm a big fan of the KISS method. In fact, all of the time I'm a fan of the KISS method when it comes to storytelling, which is keep it simple, silly, where it's basically a very straightforward plot line. It has a lot of journey throughout that kind of keeps with what the point of the film is, and HUBIE Halloween definitely does that. This is a very simple film about a guy who is so sweet. Adam Sandler plays such a sweet character who just is kind of awkward. This film is not overly long, thank goodness, because even though it is a simple and cute film, I think if it was any longer than it actually was, I would have been like, okay, we should end this about 20 or 30 minutes ago. And if you've watched any of my previous films, you know I am not someone who's about movies overstaying their welcome. So in this case, kudos for HUBIE Halloween kind of staying its welcome just enough to give us a great story and then bow out. There are a lot of familiar faces. If you're someone who enjoys the comedy element of the world, and even some dramatic movies, but there's a lot of familiar faces, and that makes sense because it's Adam Sandler, and we all know as he's gotten more with a lot of the movies that have come out, he tends to put a lot of people he already knows in the films. But there were actually some newer, younger faces in there from recent movies, up and coming young actors as well. But there were a lot of familiar faces from like Saturday Night Live and other films that really they played their part really well. It wasn't just one of those, hey, look, it's so-and-so, and they don't do anything in the film except exist. Now, there was a slight drawback, but not really a drawback. I think it just really depends on who you're trying to watch this film with and who lives with you that you would watch it as during the time of this filming, we are all very much streaming movies at this time, is that there's a lot of mixed comedy. There are some things that are very funny for adults, and then there are things where it's like, because it's very funny for adults, you kind of wonder, as sweet of a message that this movie has, you kind of wonder if kids should be watching it necessarily, but it goes back and forth. There's sometimes when there are kids and it's a cute, funny, silly moment, but then it's like it goes to certain things, saying things on shirts, and you might have some very awkward conversation with your kids. One trigger warning in this film is bullying. If you are someone who has dealt with it, that's very much a through line, and there are some scenes that are kind of sad, which, you know, depending on, you know, how bullying might relate to your past or your present, say no to bullying, guys. Or what the world is dealing with right now with a bully, you may feel some type of way watching those scenes. But other than that, that's the main trigger warning of this film. The emotional carnage of this film is love and hugs. This is such a feel-good film. You know, it's one of the things when the credits rolled, I was like, actually felt pretty good watching that movie, because we all know there are some horror movies that are just depressing. Thank you, Midsummer. And there are other films that, you know, you feel good because maybe the main character triumphed or something, but, you know, it doesn't make you like, oh, happy-go-lucky. That's not necessarily the case in, you know, some horror pictures, but this horror film was really good at just having a really great message in it, in terms of, you know, the way we look at people, the way we judge others, the way we count people out, and how we behave as human beings. And in that sense, I kind of feel like, dare I say, this Adam Sandler movie was timely. My twisted final grade for Hubie Halloween is an A. Yeah, I genuinely liked this film. It's something that I would watch again for sure, actually, and definitely recommend to others. It's a feel-good film. It hits all the points that it's clearly trying to hit, and just a quality movie. Okay, Twisted people, that is my review, including emotional carnage when it comes to Hubie Halloween. I really enjoyed this film. Let me know if you've watched it. Let me know below how you feel about it, and what other feel-good Halloween movies or horror pictures in general are there. Let me know. Comment down below with your thoughts and comments, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Let's get creepy together.